Well, here we are. What's up, everybody? This is Iron Raven returning yet again. And a quick shout out to the Fandom Collective for your recent shout out with that description that you gave me. I like that and it's greatly appreciated all the work you guys are doing. I give you the nod and a salute to you. Always appreciated no matter what. And to everyone else in the Fandom Collective, keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to you all. Keep kicking ass. Anyway, with that said, on to the topic at hand. And I figured I'd go ahead and discuss the Fast and the Furious franchise and where I stand with it all. The Fast and the Furious franchise. Now, the franchise that shouldn't be but is. I would say this is truly lightning in a bottle, like some other unique franchises like a Bond franchise where it can expand over decades, different actors, different eras, isolated stories, sure for the most part, but can still hold the audience that it had for so many years is truly unique. The MCU, a giant universe that started off as an experiment, but then expanded into what it is, but of course has lore behind it between years and years and years of comics where, yeah, stakes get ramped up through the phases and all, but for the most part, isolated films still hold a specific formula, so you know what to expect pretty much each and every time. The Fast and the Furious, on the other hand, just a little film, basically, yeah, as many have said, a Point Break remake, but it's still very much its own thing. 2001, The Fast and the Furious, very much that extreme early 2000s era where everything was just ramped up. You had your triple X's, you had your vertical limits, your Mission Impossible 2s, just everything was just cool and edgy and shit. And yeah, so you get street level racers, they're souped up cars, all colorful and everything, and then yeah, simple story, undercover cop trying to investigate a bunch of punks stealing DVD players for a quick buck. Okay, that's all well and good times. And then you get the follow-up to that, which you would expect, is a huge vehicle, no pun intended, for Vin Diesel and the Paul Walkers and whatnot. Where, yeah, like in a lot of cases where sometimes you get the one actor that returns, but no one else does to kind of carry this on. And lukewarm for a lot of people. I mean, I would say that film is fine. I would say it's the weakest just because it's just kind of the most flat, just kind of basic, not a whole lot to it, especially like say you compare to later films, of course. Just very simple film, but it is what it is. And then you get to Tokyo Drift, which I personally like just fine. A lot of people give it a little bit too much shit. I've always enjoyed it. That was actually the first one I saw in theaters. But yeah, that was where none of the main actors returned, except for, of course, a little cameo at the end. But that was even intended because they asked him to come back, do the poor test screenings for the film. But he did it because he wanted the rights to the Riddick franchise, and then that's how that happened. And then so you would think, okay, by that point, that's the end of this franchise. It had its run. Fine, bravo, do some other shit. Go make your Riddick films. But then 3 years later, you get the soft reboot, which we saw a lot during this period, where you bring back all the old cast members. New model, original parts was the tagline. You catch up with them. It's all well and good. It's like, okay, that was actually pretty solid. I enjoyed that. It was fun. It left you off a bit of a cliffhanger, going into the next film. Like, oh, what's going to happen with Dom? And then that's where you arrive to Fast 5 in 2011. And then, this is where the Fast and the Furious franchise, you could say, did the Avengers before the Avengers did the Avengers. Because it was 2011, that was 2012, where you bring in the original cast members, Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, Jordana Brewster, Too Fast, Too Furious, Tyrese, Ludacris, Tokyo Drift. You bring in Sung Kang, who was killed off, but of course it's where we start to say that, oh yeah, that just took place later. So let's bring in this fun character that people liked. Cool. And then Fast and Furious, Gal Gadot, which was like her first, major film that she had done. You even bring her back in before she was Wonder Woman, and then you have this whole team dynamic, and then everything was firing on all cylinders. You got your action, everything's cranked up to 11. You bring The Rock in as the antagonist, and it's just, You get that versus between him and Vin Diesel, and it's just like all well and good. Okay, we're kicking ass, we're enjoying this. And then Fast and Furious 6, take things up to even to the next level. And even for me, I was like, okay, that's actually pretty solid. It's like this is the slow evolution, because even though we're far removed from that street racing element, just stealing DVD players, to just being drivers for hire as basically super spies to stop, worldwide disasters and shit. Okay, fine, because we've kind of slowly eased into this. This is where we are, all well and good. You get your Gina Carano's, of course, teaming up with The Rock, which is all good stuff right there. And it's just like, fine, this is where we're taking it. I can go along with it. And then you get to your Furious 7, which, of course, going into this one with the unfortunate death of Paul Walker, a lot of people, were rather curious going into this one, him having not finished, and knowing he's been such a integral part of the franchise. It's just very kind of bittersweet to see what they do with all of this. And then you bring in James Wan, who's taken over for Justin Lin. This is kind of like his first big blockbuster film that he's done. Of course, going on to do Aquaman, and having started off as a film student with the original Saw film is where he started. And then, just him just becoming his own has been great to see, but him taking that on as well as this big film and that situation, it's just like, okay, he did a pretty good job handling that, and it was a very well done send-off for the actor, for that character, and for a nice culmination for all of this. And that, like I said, that slow evolution, and we went just far enough. And I felt like, yeah, all things considered, it would have been best to have ended right there. But then Fate the Furious, we want to do 10 films, he would want us to go on. Okay, that's all well and good, I guess. I enjoyed it well enough, but I did feel like something about that one in particular a little off. But I enjoyed it for what it was. And then you get to where we are now with F9, the Fast Saga. Now, a lot of people are saying, even people who have been along for this ride for what it's worth, even now it's to the point where these people are saying, okay, I might have to get off this train, because now everything is just full on self-parody. The characters are just caricatures. There's no stakes whatsoever. Yeah, we've told physics to fuck off pretty early on, but now we're just playing with the idea to where people like Han, who clear as day, there's no way this dude would have survived this. Now with Michelle Rodriguez, I could kind of see how they could twist that and say, oh yeah, she's alive. That was earlier on. That's all well and good. Whatever. But then now it's just like, what am I supposed to say? How long can I defend this? I don't think I can anymore. And then you have John Cena, which he's no Rock, but I do feel like he's, like I would say about Chris Hemsworth, his placement with film and stuff like this is probably more comedic. Like films like Blockers, which I haven't seen, but I heard he was pretty decent in. And like what I said with my Suicide Squad reaction to the trailer, where I feel like he actually kind of stands out. I feel like his placement is more there and not so much the serious action guy. Where The Rock can be both. He can be the action guy. He can be kind of dramatic. Even Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista has shown actually quite a bit in like Blade Runner and Spectre that he can actually pull off, a little bit more weightier stuff. As well as something like a Drax, which is a little bit more colorful. It's a little bit more comedic. That's all well and good. I'm not so sure about John Cena yet. Maybe give him a couple more years. He could probably pull it off. But even when I'm hearing with their backstory and the way that they're going about all of that, I'm like, you're truly pushing it. I know some people saying, fuck it, throw in dinosaurs, throw in Transformers, which at this point I'm like, I mean, hell, you could if you wanted to, but I'm just like, don't do it. For the love of God, don't do it. That really is pushing the envelope. But it brings up the question, like, okay, well, what's the end game going to be? Because if you look at the ending of like Fast 5, Fast 6, Fast 7, Fast 8, they all basically end on the same note. And I know that that's been the theme of family, but the note has always been, oh, everyone's all together now. We're a family. Hell, even the person we thought was a villain to us in the last movie, they're family now. Fuck it, bring them in. You murdered our friend, supposedly. But hell, nah. Hug me, brother. Like, family. Like, that's what it's all about now. So what's, like, really the end game? Like, what note can you end on? It's because they all kind of end on the same note, and it's just like, okay, so we're just going into this level of absurdity now, to where you can only play up the self-awareness, the parody so much before even that doesn't work. So what's your end game here? I can't quite say. I can't imagine what they do with Fast 10. Furious 7, honestly, that really should have been the end point. Like I said, I'm not trying to overthink this. I'm just saying, for what is and for what that evolution was, I appreciate it. It was cool to see. It was very unique, because a lot of franchises, even very much established franchises, beloved franchises, can barely even get that right. But this, it was a slow evolution. They built themselves up. They made things work organically. The cast was diverse without shoving it down your throat. But of course, people want to hijack that now and say, oh, this is so diverse. Oh, we need more women and stuff doing. Like, it's always been there. It's always been there with this franchise. It's always had it. It was organic. You don't need to hammer that point home. It's completely and utterly pointless. And so they just had the perfect storm going. It's Furious 7, that really should have just been the end. Where you go from here with space and shit, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Anyway, I'll just end it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you have, like, comment, subscribe if you would. It would be greatly appreciated. But of course, you do not have to. You have the free will to do whatever you want. Like, I have the free will to go and see this movie, and then hopefully my brain doesn't fall out. Yeah, whatever. I'm drunk. No, I'm not. I don't know. What are these outros? I don't. End it. Just end it now.